Well, it's Columbus Day, or as the Democrats like to call it, what is it, Indigenous Peoples Day and Glorious Bastards Day? I don't know what they call it. They call it something weird, but it is Christopher Columbus, the day that we celebrate his quote unquote discovery of America. Now, we can debate history all day. Did Christopher Columbus really discover America? Was he really this, that? I don't care. It's tradition, and when it comes to tradition, I generally like it. I'm a traditional guy, I guess you could say. I married a trad wife, as they like to say, and so yeah. But on Columbus Day, there's been a lot of attacks already, before, during, and I'm sure there will be attacks afterwards from Democrats, in particular Kamala Harris. Article over at hotair.com. Tone Deaf, Democrats diss Columbus Day. This is by David Strom, whose articles I've been reading more and more lately. I've got to contact this guy and find out what he's all about, because I think he does a great job. I think he does very well. Kamala Harris has many weaknesses as a candidate. We all know the word salad problem, of course, and her connection to Biden is another connection. But a quick look at the polling shows a sleeper issue. People worry that she is too left wing and trying to hide the fact. Duh. They worry about that for obvious reasons. She is a radical leftist who has spent a lifetime pushing woke ideology on citizens. While running for president in 2019, Harris made clear that she is all in on decolonizing America, a movement that has picked up steam and dominated left-wing activism for years. During a campaign stop in New Hampshire, she denounced Columbus and the colonization of the Americas, calling for renaming today's holiday Indigenous Peoples Day. Let's not play that. You guys, I'm sure you've probably seen it, and if you haven't, you're not going to see it here, because there's just no purpose there. She continues this theme while vice president, characterizing the complex history of European and Native histories as a simple story of oppressors and oppressed. Anybody familiar with the history knows that Cortez was only able to conquer what is now Latin America due to massive help from indigenous people who joined the Spanish in order to liberate themselves from a murderous regime. And again, more videos of Kamala, which we're not going to play. We need not debate the history and the moral ambiguity of Columbus's legacy to understand that embracing the denigration of European culture is a politically stupid move. The left hates Western culture and Western achievements, and Kamala Harris has embraced the left's narrative for her entire career. Gretchen Whitmer, Harris's campaign co-chair, reinforces this fact by apologizing to Native Americans for the existence of America. Not that she is much interested in actually giving back to Michigan, to the indigenous tribes, but she embraced the whole Europeans bad narrative, and I'm not going to play her either. We're gonna save you guys. I'm gonna try to limit the idiocy from the left today and not play as much of it. Play as little of it as possible, actually. Tim Walz has in the past gone further. He applauded BLM and Antifa rioters tearing down a statue of Columbus that stood proudly outside the Minnesota Capitol. As with his other actions during the George Floyd riots, he sided with the rioters and allowed the destruction of private and state property as a form of reparations to rioters. Point being is this: Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, Gretchen Whitmer, all of the radical leftists that are trying to take over this country from through this election and through whatever else they're going to do before, during, and after the election, their intention is to destroy the United States of America. They're no longer even hiding this fact. They want to tear it down, and they think they want to rebuild it. What they don't realize is that many of them, and I would say Kamala Harris falls into this category, many of them are just simply pawns of the globalist elite cabal. They think, oh, well, if we can tear down America and rebuild it under this Marxist vision, we can rebuild it with modern monetary theory, we can rebuild it with equity, inclusion, and diversity, we can rebuild. They don't care, they being the globalist elite cabal, they don't care if we rebuild it or not. Their intention is just to tear down the United States of America. What happens after that, if we get quote unquote rebuilt and become part of their 10 regional powers that are controlled by one centralized global power, if we're part of that, fine. If we're not part of that, if we're just completely destroyed and never rebuilt, fine. They don't care. They just know that they need us out of the way to achieve their goals. And Kamala Harris is the next and possibly final step for them to achieve and realize their machinations. Be sure to connect with me and my shows anywhere where you are. You can go to jdrucker.com/find. That's jdrucker.com/find. It's got all my shows, Substacks, blogs, all that good stuff. Check it out. jdrucker.com/find.